City Council, maybe, anything you want to say?
Yeah, she said I had one in here.
You know, I got here just in time to have something to say. Two things, these at the time. One thing I want to clear something up about what a storage building is and what a garage is. I keep hearing Robert's big storage building from somebody here at the city manager. Well, I, for one, actually store cars in my garage. It's what you're supposed to use a garage for, is cars. And my storage building is over 300-something thousand square feet, so I have plenty of storage room in my building in Congress. I don't have to store stuff in my house except my cars and my campers. And it's not a storage building, it's a garage. Second of all, you know, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here until we get somebody else involved. And other than the mayor and one other person, y'all all ought to be ashamed of yourselves about what's happening in these three subdivisions. When this was first brought to the attention, the first thing the mayor stood up and said, this needs to be corrected. That it needs to be corrected. Another council member went along with it. Nobody else has. Because they don't want to listen to somebody else, that he's not your boss. And come election time, all these people, oh yeah, we're going to do this for you, we're going to do that for you. Y'all going to find out who your boss is. Because I've been talking to other people in the subdivisions, they're oblivious. They're like, well, that wouldn't apply to us, we're in a subdivision. I'm like, you have no land no more. And they're all extremely like, what do you mean? I'm like, you need to go check it out. We've lost all of our setbacks because of something that was intended for large acres. Someone right there in the middle of us, I can't call no names, but he's the mayor of our town, said we need to fix it. One council member has voted to say, let's take a vote on it. Nobody else would second him. But remember, time goes fast. Election season will be here again soon, and nobody is standing up to help anybody. And it pretty much covers, 3 subdivisions covers a lot of districts. And nobody but one is standing up to do anything about it. It's pathetic, it's sad, and it will be remembered by everybody in this town that nobody is standing up to do the right thing, on to make a wrong right. It's so simple, it's stupid. It's a mistake, a simple mistake, and it just needs to be righted. Thank you. Oh, Robert Grizzle, 6 point in there more way.
Anybody else? We'll have more comments at the end of the meeting. I do want to get the minutes out of the way. Then we'll get to everybody got a copy of the minutes? No. Oh, I got a copy.
Everybody got to approve the agenda.
We'll approve next week. I want to make sure everybody reads through it and let's take no, I didn't change it on that. We'll go on next week. The special call meeting we have tonight is for the reserve sewer capacity. Reserve reservation of sewer capacity for Moss Creek Farms development over there. And, everybody, you do a committee meeting, and they suggested we go ahead and adopt this. Everybody should send a copy of this out there, the agreement. Everybody got a copy of the agreement. Anybody got any discussion on what to do about it? We have Kevin here in case y'all have any questions for him too.
I can just give you all a brief explanation. When the zoning was approved for what's recognized as Moss Farms, the developer has requested that we go ahead and sign a sewer capacity reservation agreement, work with Dennis, Frank, and Brian Rent regarding the capacity. We have sufficient capacity at our plant. And the basics of the agreement are that they would take down 25% of what they need for their development annually, and they will pay the tap fee. So upon execution of the agreement or soon thereafter, they will pay $907,500, and then annually they will review what additional capacity they will need. The idea with these are that the sewer taps for ease of reference will be transferred to the ultimate owners. Once they develop, they'll transfer these taps to those owners. And if that has not occurred within 2 years, then they will be charged a sewer user fee, the base rate, And if it's not been used within 7 years of the date of the agreement, then they would forfeit the rights to any additional reservation, and they would not be entitled to any refund.
If I read it correctly, it'll be, if I understood it, be 4 different payments. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
each time when they buy down, they would pay the then existing rate
Okay.
as they buy it down.
Unless it's a little faster, I'm sure they will come back in and do it faster. We'll be
Yes,
happy.
yes, those are maximum limits, that's right, yeah, the idea is hopefully, I mean,
Yeah.
it's 25% is all we have to commit, but if they're ready before and we have the capacity, obviously, that would be everybody's preference.
Okay.
Any more questions? Discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
The motion for Chris Allen to approve supervisor reservation agreement with Moss Farms.
I'll second.
Second by Denise Shelton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
Mayor, what Kevin has requested is that we sign two. He will take those and will then get his team to sign theirs and return one original, and they'll keep one to record, but that way we'll have an original for our minutes.
Yes. I've got two.
Okay.
The witness and the notary, that did do that? That one?
Witness it. No. Joey's.
Yes.
So what he's done, folks, he's operated this sewer tap phase for 4 years.
There you go.
Smart guy. Okay. That takes care of that. So as you're done, if you want to hang around, fine.
I'll hang around if that's cool. I'll still.
Okay, next
see
thing
what else
on,
is going.
next thing on our agenda is yard of the month, and we're gonna have a regular yard of the month this month. So everybody go out and find a good looking yard or an improved yard. Order those next month. All right. Next month, I'm sorry. All right, Frank, I guess we're done with finance, aren't we?
Yes, sir. The first item that starts this discussion is the health insurance renewal. It's for the employees' health care. They renew January 1st, so we're getting ready for open enrollment, which will be, again, just like end of October, early November. What you have in front of you is a 14.5% increase. If you go to the last page of that section, or the second to last page, excuse me, the one that looks like this, what you'll see is the actual cost versus what we paid in premiums. So our cost in the period under review was $390,720, and we paid premiums of $204,440. So obviously, that rate, we paid less in premiums than what they paid out in expenses. The average rate increase across the board for GMA participants was 16.5%, so we're below that. We did meet with the Finance Committee, looking at what was budgeted this year. There were two items that we would ask you to consider. One is staying with the point of sale 80/60 plan with a $1,000 deductible, which is what we currently have. The dental vision remains unchanged. And what does that mean to you? The current plan goes from $882 per employee per month to $1,010 per employee per month. And on the renewal summary sheet that you have in front of you, it gives you your employee spouse, employee child, and employee family costs for that. So the increase is within what Dennis budgeted, what you guys approved in the budget. We would also ask you to consider one additional change, which is changing the life and accidental death and dismemberment benefit from $10,000, which is currently at $3.80 a month, and taking that up to $20,000, which would be $7.60 per month. So that's the only change that we would recommend that you consider adding at this time.
Was that employee paid or is that city paid?
The city pays 100% of the employees.
Acting on this, I'm not acting on this.
That's the city's side, yes, sir.
I thought,
Yes. Now, so like I said, the city pays 100% of the employee side. Overall, the total, it pays 50% of the spouse, the child, family of an employee. Yes, for the healthcare only. So we're asking you to continue that also at this point in time. And I'll be glad to try to answer specific questions out of that packet.
anybody have questions? We'll consider next week. Find what you got next.
All right. The next item,
Oh, one thing, I do want to comment about this.
Yes, sir.
On this consolidated plan report, actually, the fourth page, I think that, this page here, it looks like we're trending down this year, opposed to.
we are trending down. Because we're a small group, Anthem Blue Cross won't tell us specifically what the cases were, but we can say the cost, the vast majority of that cost was a single dependent, and that dependent's no longer under our coverage, so the trend has been down.
The claims are a whole lot less than premiums this year so far, so. Just a side note.
All right. The next item up for consideration, and we're not going to act on it tonight, and I have to get with Dennis and find out where he's what the 5-year history. But as you know, we do not charge property tax. One of the things that you do when you have property tax is you roll back your lost revenue. So if we're starting at 0, we have no rollbacks to give, but we still have to do the PT 38 for both Banks County and Hall County. But as part of that, we have to advertise our 5-year millage history. So as soon as I get that, Joey, as city attorney, can advertise, and we'll get it on your agenda at an appropriate time. The next item, just wanted to go back around real quick from last month, is the first one is the proposed contract with Payco out of Cornelia to provide payroll services. And what we were trying to do is transfer 2 items of responsibility. The most important to us is the quarterly reports to the IRS. And Payco would assume liability if they were wrong, or if the IRS questioned it, they would be the ones responsible to address IRS questions. The second one is they would prepare the end of the year W-2s for the employees. So we would still input the base information as far as number of hours, and they would take care of the rest. So they would set it up to track vacation and sick time just like we do. They would also set it up for any deductions or any garnishments, and we would work together that way. And did anybody have any questions on that proposal?
How much was that gonna run an hour?
How much?
Was they gonna charge per hour?
No, it's not per hour, it's a per payroll period, and it was, we worked it out, it was right at $700 a year for 52 payrolls.
You get the pamphlet? Have you got that pamphlet?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll make sure you have a copy of it.
So it's $71.85 per payroll, so multiply that by 52, and that'll get you the annual cost.
37, 36, 20.
Yes, sir. But from a workload and tracking, I feel and would recommend that you consider that one. The next item, also discussion from last time, was the proposed contract with Norton Consulting for bookkeeping services. With the email that you guys all saw that was passed through Dennis from Zodi, I think it's more important than ever to have somebody come in and do some cleanup in the, not the bookkeeping side, but making sure that our reconciliations are going correctly and that our account codes are all linked together the way they should be, so that we can do the reconciliation reports ourselves moving forward. Any questions on that proposal?
What I ask y'all to do, if y'all know any CPAs or any qualified people here locally or in this area that you think might be interested in doing this for us, have them contact Frank. Because these people are enrolled, and if we get the thing done locally, it probably make a whole lot better, be a lot more efficient for us, I don't know.
Well,
If y'all know anybody.
I would say for the 2 months that we were trying to use her, she's a very specialized person. She's been both a county and city finance director. She's been a trainer for both Harris and Edmunds software. So she's very good at identifying leaks. If we're talking about long-term bookkeeping kind of support and background like we've been doing, then a different contract and a local contract.
Not talking, but replacing Jennifer, sort of replace Jennifer, and overlook my shoulders. That's what what my thinking is,
All right.
as opposed to this Norton thing, but, yeah, I mean, the same. But
Well,
Jennifer's
we're
got
at a point right now,
You got to just do it.
Jennifer was not doing the portion that we need help on.
Okay.
It was causing issues for her.
But she's gone now, so somebody got to
She's
do
not,
that, somebody
yes.
got to do that part, is what I'm saying. We got to find somebody to do that part.
Right. But this is two different
We got two
things.
things.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. And the last item, it's an item that you guys have been talking for a while, was replacing of some of the vehicles. And the 2 vehicles specifically that we talked about with the Finance Committee was the 2010 Ford F-150 that Public Works uses, Community Services. It has $133,000. The second one is also 2010 F-150 used by the water and wastewater treatment plant. It's right at $98,000, but they're both at a point where we really need a serious state decide to replace them in retirement. So, not tonight, but obviously I would ask you to consider authorizing us to go out and seek state contract pricing on the 2 replacement vehicles. And I'd be glad to answer questions.
How does that compare to commercial pricing? Is it considerably cheaper, is it?
State pricing tends to be cheaper because it's already a pre-bid price. However, depending if you shop around, you can find a dealer that will undersell it on occasion, not all the time. The difference is the state contract price, you don't have to bid, versus if we go, even if we looked at a state contract price, I'm sure we would talk to several of the local dealers to get a price and see what their best price is to make a comparison.
10%, 15%,
To what?
10% difference or 15% difference?
I won't say that, it's varying so much from vehicle to vehicle. I would say they're typically about, 10% cheaper. The issue
You're trying to get more.
tends to be on the state contracting prices you have to order, so you're generally looking for 12 to 14 weeks lead time. versus a dealer having something on the lawn.
Any other questions about any of this?
Can I backtrack to D? I just want to kind of put emphasis on that we really need to do this because we're behind on our audit, and this is imperative moving forward so that we can be in compliance. Am I correct on that, Frank?
No, Tangi and I sort of talked about that briefly today. To the best of our knowledge, Wayne and his company, there's probably 2 or 3 emails that we believe are the last emails. Part of that is, I'm gonna have to get with Joey, because I don't have enough time here to answer the questions. And we're also probably gonna have to reach out on at least one of those questions to Dennis to try to get an answer because they're obscure at this point. But the more important is for the new audit.
This is for the
upcoming
audit. Okay.
It's important for that, yes.
All right.
Any other questions?
Yeah, on the vehicles, now would we trade the old ones in or keep those in service, or what would be the plan?
Given the age of them, typically, if the state contract, typically there's not a trade. If you buy off a dealer's lot, there could be, but I would tell you, typically what I've seen is you get a better price, even on old equipment. Gov Deals are one of the public bid sites, and it certainly gives you a better price than accepting sealed bids. So the intent, I would say, is to replace both and put them in pasture. And I would say the water department has hemmed a little bit because they would like to do some of the dirty work with an old vehicle, not a new vehicle. But the intent was to replace one for one.
Don't, we don't have to.
What?
We don't have to unless we decide to.
Right. And it is, those are items on
Yeah.
your SPOS,
Right.
identified on your SPOS.
Quick question, if we keep the wastewater treatment vehicle and just receive another, if we were to consider that, want to know what our financial impact is on, additional coverage, anything that would go along with that. It sounds like that was a possibility of discussion, right?
And I'll pull the exact numbers for you tomorrow. But your vehicle cost, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Angie, is probably about $350 per vehicle. As far as insurance, the second side of that is what type of vehicle we're trying to replace them with. And in the work perspective is a discussion, doesn't need to be a full size, especially for the wastewater treatment plant. Because something smaller like a Ranger or a Colorado function as effectively as a F-150 or a 1500.
Anything else? All right, some of them, 6, 5 or 6,
I know 6.
unless you guys have enough for that one.
No, I'm fine. I don't see anybody from the Historic Society.
I'm right here.
Oh, okay. I had this on my, I must have it wrong too.
They have three requests before you consider.
Should be on the front of this.
The first one is to permit them to hold
A
community water sale
on Saturday, September 2nd, and close Carter Alley between Atkins Street and Cobb Street between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. And I'll turn it over to the 2 representatives.
I was gonna say, Dave, I think you know more about this one than I do.
Yeah, Dave Wilson from 5965 Main Street. He was closed it from Redmond's property to Riles Brothers property. That way they can access anything they need to access. Just won't be a through thoroughfare. And just leave the public restrooms open. But it'll be, basically anyone can come out and have a section of property that have their yard sale for the day.
Could you repeat the span of closure that you're talking about again? One more time?
From the inner side of Ryle's property to Ricky Redmond's property. That way Cerritos can park in the back if she needs to.
Okay.
And then if they need to access, if they're having an event that day, it won't mess with their
All right.
parking either.
Any other questions? All right, second.
Saturday the second, correct?
I think it's the 7th, right? The
It may be the
Saturday?
seventh, I didn't write it, it was
The
Scott.
2nd is Labor Day. I was gonna put it on my calendar and it's like,
The second is Labor Day, but it's not Saturday.
You go,
the-
following Saturday, so.
it's the 7th.
Yeah.
Is that what you want?
Okay, then I guess that'd be the seventh.
Okay.
Let me double check with Scott.
I thought y'all
This
wanted
is
to-
Scott's baby.
Yeah.
Maybe a weekend for that.
And on the proposal that he wrote, it does say the 2nd, but it does say Saturday, September 2nd. Saturday is not a 2nd, so I do believe he probably means the 7th, but definitely check. And we
Unless
can-
you want to let it weekend specifically for that reason.
Well,
That's
it's
what he
still
had said to me, he was wanting to do it Labor Day
That's
weekend,
what I
so whatever that would be.
right, but then that would be, that still
We
isn't
can-
the set, it
August
says
31st.
Saturday,
August 31, we play
Second.
Clemson at noon.
right? I mean, you better have a big screen TV out there, maybe.
It ends at 5 o'clock, it ends at 5 o'clock though.
Good one, Joey Cohen, that's right.
The seventh.
I also think that I know that there was discussion, and I don't know what the final decision was, because again, this wasn't my project with the Historical Society, but there was discussion that there would be like a $20 booth fee for people to come in and set up, because it is a donation to help with the entertainment this year.
Right,
Because
it's
you
strictly
need
historical
so
society.
much in everything in entertainment.
And the proceeds go to the Fall Festival.
All right. The second item was a request to provide a $1,500 sponsorship for the 2024 Lula Fall Festival, which would be used to cover a portion of the entertainment costs for the event.
I know last year, if I remember correctly, the council did approve $1,200, which was a huge help to help pay for the equipment that we have to have for this event.
You sure it was 1,200
Well, the
and
price
not
of everything
15?
went up, I agree with you.
I think it was 1,200 is what got approved.
I think 15.
I want to say I do think it was 15, because I looked back last year, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it
Because
was
they operated like.
my
Okay.
check that I made
It
payable
was
was 15.
To
Okay.
help buy the equipment last year, and this year's for entertainment, so.
Yeah, just.
Well,
FYI.
it's for the equipment for entertainment.
Just FYI.
You have to rent it, right?
We have to rent it.
All right. And then the final request is consider adding an additional drive-through gate to the northerly ball field at Raffy Banks Park near the intersection of Hemlock Street and Cobb Street. They feel this additional gate would make vendor setup and tear down more efficient and provide better separation between the vendors entering and exiting fields and the general public through the current single gate.
I think that should be done.
So we're not voting on tonight, we're discussing it, talking about it, voting on next week. I have a clarification though, from the map that he's given us, there's not enough turn radius to get out of the ball field before the front of your truck gets to Hemlock Street, for the trailer.
He's
Go
one
that
that,
way.
Hoyt and I have gone out on site. Our recommendation would be to move it around the corner onto the Hemlock Street side. It would work better on that side, both for storm drain and for pipes that are there. And I think the alignment would allow people to make the turn easier.
How long are we talking to?
Do what?
What was on my 10-foot gate or?
They didn't specify, so we would probably do
It would need to be big enough to get a vehicle through.
Standard fence gate is 10 foot for a
Being
vehicle.
16 foot.
At least the size of the one they're currently going
That's
through
what I
now.
was gonna say, just make it match.
And we don't have a cost on it.
No, we wanted to get the council's feel, and this is one we would probably,
So,
depending on the workload, ask to bid out to a fence company.
It seems they've been able to get quite a few things through that existing gate. It seems that they've been able to get quite a few large vehicles through that existing gate. I just don't know what the width is on that gate.
But yeah, the only thing is, you got plenty of room to be straight.
Straight, yeah, and then
Well,
you have
this
to
one you gotta
turn.
turn. so
You have to turn
flatter.
before you get, yeah.
that's true.
Mm.
Trailer drag a corner down, need it wide enough for them to get through.
I don't quite understand the need for it either personally, but, people setting up, booths, there's no visitors, there's no pedestrians there, no customers there. Customers there, there's nobody sitting up booths. Customers go home and then move booths out, it's all the same gauge. Is there a problem with that?
The problem is it bottlenecks when you've got 100+ vendors coming in at one time to set up. It bottlenecks down, and you really have no way for them to exit. You have to completely stop traffic, let 2 or 3 out, let 2 or 3 in, let 2 or 3 out, and it creates a bigger issue trying to get them in and out so that they set up in the short amount of time that they have.
I'll go ahead and throw this in. Primary and secondary means of ingress and egress would satisfy any safety concerns for risk mitigation. Should there be a urgent need for people to exit that field? That's just an extra there, I'll throw that in. I would support
It would
that.
also make it easier if God forbid there was an incident and we needed to get EMS in and out.
That's what it's saying. Partially. So your plan coming in and out Hemlock Street gate too? Is it?
So
It'd be a one-way.
essentially it would
You
be
come in
one
one
cut,
way
you
and
come
out
in
the
one
other.
side and you go out the
We
other.
got an entrance on Brown Ridge Road. The store is at the back ever. I said, I still know. I said, I would have been.
There's always a bottleneck.
I said, we'll pay that new entrance.
Hey Scott, real quick question.
Yeah.
We were actually discussing the proposals for the Historical Society. Did you mean Saturday the 7th? Or did you actually mean the 2nd, which is Labor Day? which
Labor
is
Day,
Monday?
which would be.
You want it on Monday?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, 'cause
You want Saturday, you want Monday the second, or Saturday the 31st?
Oh, it says Saturday.
September 2nd, but we were just trying to decipher.
So you wouldn't on
Sorry.
Monday?
You
Yes, it
wanted
was Monday.
So Monday, September
Yes,
2nd. Okay, he's Monday.
Monday. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. We were looking, Jim pointed out that date didn't match. And then they said something about wanting to do it on Labor Day, so, okay.
Okay.
That was all. Thanks.
I'll stick around.
All right, the next item is just an update on zoning. As you know, the planning commission's been working on the setbacks and dimensional requirements. They did sit down at their last meeting. We've simplified the chart so it's bigger and readable, but they've asked us to go ahead and finalize it and prepare for public hearings and workshops with you. I'll provide you all a copy tomorrow, so you'll have time to ask. But, Joey, correct me, it would be November before it would make it to you as a public hearing.
Well, it'll be October 1 will be the public hearing for the Planning Commission, October 21 for council. Will be your first public hearings on the proposed zoning ordinance amendment.
right, so they did have a good, long discussion, and with the exception of one change to the chart that we addressed, you'll get a clean one. It does a side-by-side comparison between what's existing today and what's proposed, and it's all in one sheet, so you can, the prints are not larger, you don't have to squint anymore. Okay. But that should address a number of the concerns that have cropped up. And that is moving forward. Any other questions about zoning?
That is one thing we're addressing as far as narrowing ones, those subdivisions are concerned. We're actually looking at that still. It's still, it's on, we haven't forgotten it. So,
I know, but y'all still trying to change the zoning and the setbacks. Yeah, it needs to go back to what it was. And when the rezoning got done, or the setbacks got done, it should not have affected subdivisions that were already built and already developed. It should not have even have covered those.
we're addressing that, we're looking at that.
Shouldn't even touch them. No, it shouldn't have, right?
When's
You
the
just
next-
gotta feel important, and it shouldn't have been touched. It's a simple thing. They should have been
Right.
excluded from the setbacks.
When is the next planning commission meeting?
It'll be in October.
Well,
September.
that's public hearing. They are going to have discussions again, be September the 3rd will be their meeting.
Why can Narramore not be put back and left alone?
Well, there's two things that, it just depends upon what the zoning district is. But as to the individuals who are in those subdivisions, if they are impacted by the change in the setbacks, in other words, if they have made plans for a development or otherwise can establish vested rights, then whether the ordinance changes or not, they retain their authority if they establish those vested rights to rely upon the previous setback. And really, those go back, I think, when we looked, they really go back to the 90s.
Yes.
So the individual, the ordinance was in the 90s. So the individuals who had either come up here and applied for a permit or whatever the specific circumstances are, they can, they would either have vested rights or they can request a variance. And if they are concerned about the fee associated with the variance, then they can include with that request that council waive the variance fee. So I assure council that the effort is not to penalize the existing subdivisions, but this zoning ordinance amendment addresses setbacks and a number of other issues that have just been brought forward from prior zoning ordinances. So I encourage citizens who are impacted by the changes that have been labeled December 22 zoning ordinance amendment, even though the ordinance was not signed actually until January of 23, but it's referenced as December 22 because that's when the final revisions were made. If they believe they are negatively impacted by those setbacks, then if they will contact us and they're able to establish that, and they have vested rights, they'll certainly be recognized.
I guess it's down to Mordecai not here tonight. Did he send anything? All right, we're gonna have citizen comments again then.
I think our city manager here is doing a great job, but we need to get him a better microphone because Dennis was loud and we could all back here hear Dennis. And I don't think anybody back here could hear Frank, do you? No, we can't hear him when he's talking, so maybe y'all need to get him a better microphone or something. Because we really do want to hear what he's got to say. I can hear
Gotcha.
Maybe turn it on.
Yeah, but
Does it come with instructions?
Yeah, but Dennis is
No, it's
here.
on.
It's
Maybe,
on.
maybe you just need to hold it.
No, batteries are dying.
Okay, we'll fix it.
Going in and out.
Let's see if we can get him a head-worn
Well,
Yeah.
you're not as loud. You're really not as loud as Dennis is,
Right,
so.
he does talk.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dennis is loud, so you can hear him.
He also doesn't take as long as Dennis does to explain. Thank you, Frank.
Anybody else?
Mayor, if I may, before you go into council comments, if there's no other citizens' comments, you asked me some questions I want to address.
Oh,
to the
about that.
whole- Just some updates.
Oh, let's have some things.
Okay, Carter Street, Chattahoochee Street culvert requirement. These ones are sitting in Dennis's office. I will go out tomorrow and Wednesday to try to close those up and get those signed. Once they're signed, Rent will do an RFP. It'll be out for 30 days, at which time you'll select the lowest responsive bidder. And somewhere between 2 and 3 weeks worth of work is what we're estimating. So, for those you'd ask about.
Can they do that during,
Do what?
can they possibly do that during Christmas break from school? Is that time of year a good time to do that work, you think? Yeah, I'm contemplating traffic stops.
The roads should not be closed at any point.
I thought they were down Cook Road or what.
No, the plans do not have a road cut in them.
I thought there's some of that, some road closures involved in that, but,
I'll verify that, but to the best of my knowledge.
and that doesn't mean possibly, we don't need electricity.
Yeah, but we would give the school notice and we would keep one road open and the other one. So one's not two are closed, but only one would close at a time. Hopefully you guys saw the pictures. County Line Road did get repaved. It was a larger stretch than we agreed to. So there was some interesting last minute back and forth between Rent and Wiles. But it is paved the full width. They milled the full width of the road. It was in bad. Once you get down to the third layer, it was. So the permanent stripes won't go on for about 2 weeks. That's simply to give it curing because the stripes we're using out there, they'll come back and finish that. Railroad Street, County Line Road with the railroad. Still trying to get Cole Poe to agree on a date for the meeting. As soon as I get that, I will give that to you. Update on Wi-Fi at the Wellness Park. Wayne's getting back into the groove. He's found a cooling system, heating cooling system. That price is low enough and it's available that we can do the work ourselves. Once that's in, he'll get the electrician in and IT in to make their connections and George Bauer to do the connect over, and then we'll go from there. So I would say probably another month or so before it's done.
Yeah, on a similar note, I guess I'll make Judy happy way. Somewhere during the process, soon, looking Wi-Fi at the concession stand for ball field.
This Wi-Fi would not go over
No,
to.
I'm just thinking maybe install another server, a Wi-Fi server at the concession stand. Look at that. I'll bring those.
Yes, please.
We don't know yet. I'm just another project down the road.
We'll take a look at it.
See that do that?
All right. Moss Farms, since you're still here, they have to drill their single well. They achieved their goal of 100 gallons per minute and exceeded it on their first well site. So they're not going to drill a second well site, as far as I understand. So they're at 108 gallons per minute sustained, and they're moving forward with their design requirements.
We're in the midst of the 72-hour test. Right now it's high. We'll know for sure at the end of that 72 hours that final number. It might be higher, so I hope.
Wow.
But
All right.
I'm glad I asked. That's good news.
Yes.
That's really good.
Yes.
All of us need to hear that news, y'all.
So Moss Farms is currently under review. Rent and his folks have that. I've gone through it once, so that those comments should be coming out shortly.
great.
Cedar Creek, we're in discussions. There's a few items of concern still. One is the entrance, the second entrance. So that's still there. What they're proposing is very similar to what you approved for Moss Farms. They still need to do their water well and get their water source of 50 gallons per minute. The other one is they have a small incursion into the buffer, the stream buffer setbacks for, it's a road. It's about 820 square feet, so the issue there specifically is our code's dated. So EPDs has made changes. We haven't kept up with those changes. So there's some alternative methods. Rent engineering is looking at the setup and modification of the setup that Hull County and Gainesville use, and we'll come forward with a proposal on that to update our code. The final one that's out there that's sort of under review, and it's sort of gone under the radar, but out by the BP station is a gravel RV and boat storage site. Nobody remembers reviewing it, and we can't find any stamp plans, so where that's at is being determined. However, as part of that, they're claiming an easement that is on both their property and on BP's property that BP's been relying on for their entrance. They're saying is not there. They don't recognize it, so we put the two parties in touch with each other for them to resolve the issue, and we're out of it until. So that's all I have.
Do you have anything on the sidewalks to the park?
They're working on a proposal. I'm working on getting you a drawing. It was sent to Dennis, so we don't have access to. So they're getting us the drawings to forward to you, so you can see how they're proposing to go out there within the existing right of way.
You're looking at Tony like you was a question for Tony.
For Tony, I have the street address list.
Yeah.
To create the zoning question.
Sure, yeah. Take a look at it.
Okay, thank you. Before I go to the council comments, I want, upcoming meeting, Frank does this for us, really helpful. Colorado Path meeting is tomorrow night from 6 to 9, right here at City Hall. Our regular council meeting next Monday night, the 19th. The Historical Society meets on Monday, the 26th, 7 o'clock at the Depot. The Development Authority meets on the 27th, at 6 o'clock here at City Hall. The Lula Ladies is Wednesday, the 28th, according to my list. Our council meeting, work session is September 9th, and our regular session is September 16th. Now, we're gonna have an executive session tonight, discuss personnel, if y'all wanna hang around for them. We're not expecting a whole lot of action to come out of this, but I'm gonna let you know that you're welcome to stay if you want to. Our council comments before we go to executive session. Julie?
Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and don't forget that September 28th and 29th is the Lula Fall Festival. We did another extension on applications, so if anybody has a vendor that's interested, have them reach out to us with the Historical Society. We do have several categories closed. But thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone coming. Look like we got plenty of room for more to come. We need more people in here. Thank you.
Kind of same thing, thank everybody for coming. We are working. I know sometimes it doesn't seem like it's going as fast. I'm the one that's criticized how slow things move. Before I got here, plenty of time. But, there's some things that we need to take our time and make sure we do it right.
You understand that one?
Yeah, that's what I said. I've criticized too.
You've learned, yeah.
So, yeah.
Since why you learn, right?
That's right.
All right, please.
All right, thank everyone for coming out, and I want to reiterate what Chris said. Just because you don't see it, don't mean that we're not working on it. We are working on things, and it don't always go as fast as everybody wants it, but that doesn't mean that we're not working on it.
I just want to also say thank you all for coming out tonight. I know it's been hot. I'm ready for fall. But I do want to say, I want to thank, Kevin and company for drilling a well. That's actually very positive news. Getting some more water flowing, so we appreciate that. So that's a positive thing for our area. I greatly
Need a
appreciate that.
press release. Need a press release.
Yeah, we did.
More water than Lula.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming, and, like I said, we're gonna be going to executive session, and, y'all welcome to hang around. If not, see you next Monday night. I entertain a motion to go to executive session.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session.
Second.
Motion goes to Denise, second by Juliet, go to executive session, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Go to executive session. Good, about 5 minutes.
How are you doing?
We're back, we're reconvened back in executive session. We did make a decision during executive session. I'm gonna let Tony introduce the motion.
At this time, I make a motion to deny an FMLA request received by Dennis Bergen based on consideration that our organization has 50 employees or less, and his position as city manager is considered a key position.
I'll second.
Motion by Tony Cornett, second by Julie Roberts, to deny the request, FMLA request for Dennis Bergen. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. That's all we have for that. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
Motion made by Juliet, second by Carson, to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.
I turned it off for you.
You think they're gonna send it?